Choi Min-Seok woke up drowning in silk sheets, his chest on fire, vision blurred, to the sound of a stranger cataloging his life like evidence at a crime scene. The woman sitting cross-legged on the floor wasn't supposed to exist. She'd been a ghost for 8 months, a digital phantom he'd hunted through Seoul's underground, a face in a file marked dangerous. But here she was, sorting through his wallet with surgical precision, her gold eyes never meeting his, as she made notes about a man who was supposed to be dead. He tried to speak. Pain exploded through his ribs, white-hot and unforgiving, stealing his breath. His body remembered what his mind was still piecing together. The bridge, the fall, the black water closing over his head like a grave. She finally looked up, and her voice was ice. "Your blood type is O negative. Same as mine. Lucky for you, considering I had to give you 2 pints after your mentor threw you off Mapo Bridge like garbage and left you to drown." She held up his crushed company badge, the one that had identified him as Bake Recovery International's best debt collector. "Director Bake sends his regards, by the way, along with a 3 million won bounty for proof of your death. Your own agency is hunting you, and every person you trusted wants you erased. So here's my question, debt collector. Why did you drag yourself to my doorstep begging for sanctuary when you've spent 8 months trying to destroy me?" The room spun. Min-Seok forced himself to focus past the agony radiating from his broken ribs. This was Amara Okafor, Nbenzi, the ghost. The woman accused of stealing 47 million won from his company, the criminal he'd been ordered to find and bring back. And she'd just saved his life. Welcome to my second video, beautiful and majestic souls. Thank you so much for the support and all the love on the first video. You guys are amazing. Before we dive deeper into how Min-Seok ended up in the bed of his target, take a second and tell us where you're watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments because we genuinely love seeing how far these stories reach. Are you in Seoul, Lagos, London, somewhere we've never heard of? Let us know. And if this opening triggered even a little curiosity or anything in you, hit that like button. It takes half a second and doesn't cost a penny. It tells us you want more stories that start with someone waking up in the wrong bed for all the right reasons. Amara stood and walked to him with the grace of someone who learned to move through dangerous spaces. She wore a white tank top and shorts printed with bold African patterns, her natural hair wrapped in matching fabric. No makeup. Barefoot. She looked younger than her file photo, more human, but her eyes held the calculation of someone who'd survived by being smarter than everyone hunting her. "How long was I out?" Min-Seok managed, voice rough as gravel. 16 hours. It's Monday morning. Your phone had 247 missed calls before the river destroyed it. She pulled up a tablet, swiped through surveillance footage. I watched your former team search the riverbank, laugh when they couldn't find your body, and officially declare you killed in action. At 2:13 a.m., they stopped looking. You were dead on paper, and they went for drinks to celebrate. She turned the screen toward him. The footage showed everything in grainy detail. A black sedan pulling up to Mapo Bridge at 12:47 a.m. 5 men dragging someone in a suit, Director Bok's face calm and almost disappointed as he gave an order Min-Seok couldn't hear. Then they lifted the struggling figure and dropped him over the rail into black water. Min-Seok watched himself die and felt nothing. He was too broken for fresh horror. "Jin-woo was there," he whispered, recognizing his partner, his brother and everything but blood, among the men who'd thrown him away. He helped them. He did more than help. He held you down during the beating. Amara's voice softened slightly, and that small mercy somehow made it worse. "I saw the whole thing from my surveillance setup 2 blocks away. I watched them wait to make sure you didn't surface. I watched them drive off laughing. I should have left you in that river." Why didn't you? She was quiet for a long moment, gold eyes distant. Because I recognize the way they discarded you. Very familiar. I've seen it before with trafficking victims who know too much. And because when I pulled you out, and you were barely conscious, delirious from hypothermia, you kept saying my name. Find Amara Akofer. She knows everything. She has proof. You gave an address 2 blocks from where you collapsed, and somehow, impossibly, you'd found me. She sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to jostle him. Then she found this in your jacket. She held up a small, waterproof drive. Military-grade encryption. I spent 4 hours cracking it while keeping you alive. Want to know what I found, Mr. Choi? Want to know what got you murdered by your own people? Min-Seok already knew, but he nodded anyway, needing to hear it spoken aloud. Shipping manifests listing people as cargo. Transaction logs tracking human beings like inventory. Photos of women and children with ID numbers and price tags. 3 years of evidence proving that Bach Recovery International isn't a debt collection agency, it's a trafficking network spanning 12 countries. Her hands trembled slightly as she pulled up files on her tablet. And you've been their hunter for 8 years. Every debt you collected, every person you dragged back thinking they were deadbeats trying to escape responsibility, they were victims trying to escape slavery. The words should have shattered him. Maybe they did. But Min-Seok was already so broken that this felt like just another crack in a foundation that had been rotting for years. There's a file with your sister's name, Amara continued, gentler now. Choi Na-young. Status, active. Current location, factory labor in Daejeon. Acquired 7 years ago through fabricated debt. There's a note saying her brother was a potential recruit and she should be kept alive as leverage. She met his eyes. They've been using her to control you without you even knowing that she was still breathing. Min-Seok's vision blurred. His baby sister, who he'd mourned for 7 years, who'd supposedly been killed by loan sharks, had been alive this entire time, kept in chains to ensure his loyalty to the very people who'd enslaved her. I need to see her, he said, voice breaking. I need to know she's okay. First, we need to survive the next hour. Amara stood and walked to a wall monitor, pulling up multiple surveillance feeds showing Seoul streets. Box collectors started a grid search at 5 a.m., building by building, systematic. They're using thermal scanners and facial recognition. She pointed to another feed showing different men, darker-skinned, moving with military precision. And these are my Uncle James's contractors. He runs the Lagos side of Bake's pipeline. Both sides know you came to this neighborhood and they're converging. We have about 47 minutes before they're searching this building. Min-Seok forced himself to focus through the pain. Then I leave them away from you. In your condition, she actually laughed, sharp and humorless, you'd make it 3 blocks before you collapsed or got shot. This apartment has surveillance dampeners and thermal blockers. As long as we stay hidden, they won't detect us. But you brought them here, Min-Seok. 8 months I've been invisible, and you left a blood trail straight to my door. Guilt hit him harder than any of Jinwoo's punches. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking clearly. No, you were dying, but you also brought me something I've been missing. Physical evidence from inside Bach's organization, files I couldn't access remotely. Your evidence, combined with mine, could destroy them completely. She extended her hand to Min-Seok. So we have a choice. Hide and hope they don't find us, or go on offense. Your call, debt collector. He took her hand, her grip cool and steady. What's the offensive play? We upload everything. Every file, every transaction, every piece of evidence. We burn their empire to ash and salt the earth so nothing grows back. Her gold eyes gleamed with something fierce. But it requires walking into hell first. If you're still here, if this story has you hooked, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel because the next story will be more intense and you don't want to miss it. Hit that like button if morally complicated characters doing dangerous things for redemption speaks to you. And seriously, drop a comment. Tell us if you've ever discovered that something you believed in was built on lies. We read every single one. 24 hours earlier, Min-Seok had been someone else entirely. He had walked into Bach Recovery International's conference room and presented his latest success. 200 million won recovered from a man who'd hidden assets in his daughter's education fund. The other collectors had applauded. Director Bach had placed a grandfatherly hand on his shoulder and praised him for understanding that debt wasn't just financial, it was moral. People had to pay what they owed society. Min-Seok had believed every word. 8 years of perfect collection rates, 8 years of being the best hunter they had, 8 years of thinking he was fighting predatory debt when he'd actually been hunting escaped slaves. That night, Bach had given him a new assignment. It was someone he had already been tracking. A woman named Amara Okafor, who'd embezzled 47 million won and disappeared. The file showed her as dangerous, a hacker who'd threatened violence. Min-Seok had studied her photo and felt something strange, recognition in her eyes that he couldn't explain, but he dismissed it and accepted the case. Later, working alone in the empty office, something bothered him. Amara's file mentioned she'd been an employee, but there were no HR records. It nagged him enough that he'd gone down to records, used his badge to access the system, and searched for her name. He'd found her file and linked to it a folder labeled Special Accounts Lagos Pipeline. He should have stopped there. Should have trusted that restricted access meant there was a reason. But he clicked it, and the world ended. Spreadsheets filled with names and faces. Women, children, men. Column headers reading name, age, origin, debt amount, assigned location, status. The status column showing terms like in process, delivered, payment complete, terminated. He'd opened shipping manifests listing people as cargo, destinations labeled factory labor, domestic service, entertainment venues, photos of people in cages, children being processed like products. And then his sister's file, Choi Na-young, acquired by Jinwoo Park, maintained as leverage for recruit Choi Min-Seok. He'd photographed everything with shaking hands, downloaded files to an encrypted drive, and run. The security system had already alerted Baek. The director had texted him, "We need to talk. Mapo Bridge, midnight." Min-Seok knew it was a trap, but he'd gone anyway because Na-young was alive and nothing else mattered. The bridge had been empty, rain-slicked, glittering with city lights. Baek had been waiting with 4 men, including Jinwoo. They talked first. Baek explained that Min-Seok had been groomed for 8 years to eventually run the operation, that his curiosity and conscience made him a liability. "You killed my sister," Min-Seok had said, and Bach had smiled sadly. "We gave her purpose. She's paying her debt to society." Min-Seok had attacked then, landed a few good hits before they'd overwhelmed him. They'd beaten him methodically, breaking ribs and rupturing organs while Baek watched. Then they'd thrown him from the bridge into freezing water. He'd sunk into darkness, lungs burning, certain he was dying. His last thought had been of Na-young and how he'd failed her twice. Then he'd woken up in Amara's apartment, saved by the woman he'd been hired to destroy. Now, standing in her hidden server room behind a false wall in her closet, Min-Seok understood why she'd risked everything to save him. The room was 8 feet square, lined with equipment, casting everything in blue LED light. Screens showed networks spanning continents. "This is my insurance," Amara explained, pulling up complex data streams. Complete financial records of every trafficking transaction, encrypted testimonies from 47 survivors I've helped escape, shipping logs, payment trails, communications. Everything needed to destroy Bayek's entire network. She turned to him. But the encryption key is biometric. My heartbeat. It monitors in real time. If I die, everything auto-deletes. Bayek knows this. It's why he's been trying to capture me instead of killing me. He needs me alive to decrypt it. Stalemate. Until you showed up with evidence that doesn't require my encryption. Your files plus mine uploaded simultaneously could bypass the biometric lock. She pulled up building schematics, but we need a hardline connection with enough bandwidth to complete the transfer before they shut us down. Where? Bayek Recovery Headquarters, the place I stole the data from. Min-Seok's tactical mind, sharpened by 8 years of hunting people, kicked into gear, despite the pain. I know that building. Every camera, every guard rotation, every security protocol. I helped design them. Then you know it's suicide. It's the only play that destroys them completely. He looked at her, really seeing her for the first time, the woman who'd given her blood, who'd spent 16 hours keeping him alive when she could have let him die. If we do this, we will probably both die. We don't do this, we definitely die. At least this way, 47 people get justice. 48 if we can find my sister. Something shifted in Amara's expression. Understanding or recognition. Then let's plan a heist, debt collector. They worked for 30 minutes in perfect sync, his knowledge of physical security meshing with her understanding of digital systems. Min-Seok found himself watching his hands as he typed, elegant and precise, found himself noticing the concentration in her face, the way she unconsciously bit her lower lip when solving complex problems. "You're staring," she said without looking up. "I'm impressed. There's a difference." "Is there?" But she smiled slightly. "Why did you really become a debt collector, Min-Seok?" The use of his first name caught him off guard. "I thought if I could control money, it couldn't control me. Couldn't take people I loved." I was wrong. I lost everyone and became the thing I hated most. You didn't know what you were serving. I should have. I saw the fear in their eyes, heard them beg, and I told myself they were just deadbeats. He moved closer. Why did you build the system for them? Amara's hand went unconsciously to scars on her forearm. My mother was trafficked from Lagos at 16, only escaped because a Korean businessman married her. My Uncle James, her own brother, was the one who sold her. I learned early that money is just numbers, and numbers can be changed. I got good at changing them. Then Beck recruited me, and I told myself I was just doing a job, that I wasn't responsible for how my tools were used. She rolled up her sleeve, showing burn scars forming numbers. This is inventory number 347. My uncle gave it to me when I tried to leave. He held my arm over a candle until I stopped screaming, said I belonged to them. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. Then I helped a 12-year-old girl escape, and I realized I could either serve monsters or become something else. Min-Seok reached out, traced the scarred numbers with unexpected gentleness. You're not theirs anymore. Aren't I? I'm still hiding, still running. Until today. Today, we will stop running. An alarm shrieked through the apartment. Amara lunged for her tablet. They're in the building. Lobby breach. We have minutes. They moved fast despite Min-Seok's injuries, grabbing equipment and retreating to the panic room. The space was tiny, forcing them together in darkness lit only by blue LEDs. Min-Seok could smell her shampoo, something with shea butter, and could feel every point where their bodies pressed together. Outside, footsteps, systematic searching. Jinwoo's voice directing the search. Thermal showing nothing, check everything anyway. Min-Seok's smart, he'd hide. In the darkness, Amara found Min-Seok's hand and gripped it tight. He squeezed back, an anchor against the fear. I tracked you for 8 months. I built a profile, thought you were cold and calculating. Maybe I am. No. You're the bravest person I've met. You gave up everything to save people you'd never met. Don't make me a hero. I built the cage first. And then you broke it. That's more than I did. The searchers moved through the apartment above, so close. In the blue light, Amara's gold eyes were luminous with fear and determination. Min-Seok felt her breath against his neck, felt her body heart through their pressed-together bodies. Min-Seok, she started, but her phone buzzed violently, cutting through the moment. Unknown number. Video file. Amara opened it, and Min-Seok's world shattered again. The video showed a woman chained in a warehouse, beaten, terrified, but unmistakably his sister. Na-young, aged by trauma, but alive. Director Beck's voice came off camera, calm and reasonable. Min-Seok, I know you're with the Osaka woman. Here's your choice. Bring her to me within 12 hours, and your sister goes free. Refuse, and Na-young disappears forever. Beck Recovery Headquarters, Sub-Level 3. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be late. The video ended. Min-Seok couldn't breathe. It's a trap, Amara said quietly. He'll kill us both and keep her. I know. But you're going anyway. She's all I have. Amara closed her eyes, running calculations. When she opened them, her expression had hardened with resolve. Then we don't just walk into his trap. We turn it into ours. If we're going to hell, let's burn it down on the way.
If you're still watching, if you believe evil people like Director Bach deserves evil, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button, because we're building something special here, and I don't want you to miss what comes next. Like this video if you're invested in Min-Seok and Amara's survival. Comment with one word describing how you're feeling right now. We read every single one, and your engagement tells us these stories matter. Now, back to the heist that might save them or kill them both. The plan took shape over the next hour. Amara would start a decoy upload, something traceable that would make Bach focus on stopping it. While his attention was divided, they'd infiltrate Sub-Level 3, rescue Na-young, and access a hardline to upload the real evidence, complete, instant, and irreversible. This requires perfect timing, Min-Seok said, studying the building schematics. I'm an accountant. Timing is what I do. And trust. Can you trust me not to trade you for my sister? Amara met his eyes steadily. You had 12 hours to deliver me. You spent it planning a revolution instead. So yes, I trust you. Something passed between them in that moment, understanding and recognition, and something deeper. Min-Seok crossed the space between them, cupped her face in his hands. I'm going to kiss you now. If that's a mistake, stop me. It's definitely a mistake. Then stop me. She didn't. The kiss was desperate and fierce, tasting of fear and fury. His hands tangled in her hair, gentle despite the urgency. Her fingers traced his broken ribs, careful but claiming. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, something fundamental had shifted. We might die tomorrow, Amara whispered. Then tonight matters even more. Dawn found them dressed for war. Amara in a business suit, with her hair severely pulled back, fake credentials marking her as an accounting consultant. Min-Seok in a stolen security uniform. Her arsenal wasn't guns, but technology. EMP devices, signal jammers, equipment disguised as everyday items. At 5:47 a.m., they walked into Beck Recovery Headquarters like they belonged there. Min-Seok's badge still worked because Bach wanted them inside. They took the elevator to Sub-Level 3, Amara starting her decoy upload, alarms triggering upstairs exactly as planned. But nothing prepared them for what they found. They saw something that shattered their hearts. Sub-Level 3 was massive, a processing center filled with people in cages. Clipboards listed fabricated debts. Workers prepared shipments like they were packaging products instead of human beings. Min-Seok saw faces he recognized, people he'd collected over the years, and understood the full scope of what he'd been part of. I did this, he said, horror washing over him. I sent these people here. Later, survive first. Amara pulled him towards cell 347, the same number branded on her arm. Na-young was there, thin and scarred, but alive. Min-Seok! Disbelief in her voice. You're supposed to be dead. I'm here. I'm getting you out. It's a trap. They said you'd come. Lights flooded on. Director Bach stood with 20 armed men and a man Min-Seok didn't recognize, but who had Amara's features. Her uncle, James. Min-Seok, you're so predictable. Did you really think I wouldn't anticipate this? The upload you're tracking, Amara smiled, cold and sharp. That's the decoy. The real upload started 3 minutes ago. That's the physical hardline I activated with a dead drop device when we entered. In 2 minutes, every file goes live. International Criminal Court, Interpol, every major news outlet worldwide. You can't stop it. Bach's face went white with rage. Kill them both now! James raised his gun, but other gunfire erupted. Korean National Police bursting through doors. Min-Seok's emergency call, placed when they entered, bringing reinforcements. In the chaos, Min-Seok grabbed Na-young. Amara deployed an EMP device that disabled half the weapons, and they ran. Bach caught up in a corridor, gun raised. You destroyed everything I built. You destroyed everything you touched, Min-Seok shot back. Behind Bach, James appeared and shot him in the back. Weak partners are liabilities. He aimed at Amara. You betrayed your family. You enslaved families, she responded with fury. Min-Seok tackled James before he could fire. They fought brutally until police pulled them apart. Amara's phone lit up across the room. Upload complete. Files going live globally. It was over. 3 months later, Min-Seok knocked on a small apartment door in Hongdae. Amara answered, smiled when she saw the African lilies he carried. You researched my favorite flowers. I research everything about people I care about. He stepped inside. I finished community service. 2,000 hours building housing for survivors. Got a job offer too. The International Anti-Trafficking Task Force wants investigators who understand these networks from the inside. Will you take it? Depends. They want you as lead financial analyst. Partner with me? She took the flowers, set them aside, and kissed him. Always. On her balcony overlooking Seoul, his arms around her waist and her head on his shoulder, she asked, Do you think we can actually make a difference? We already freed 47 people and destroyed Baek's network. Your uncle's awaiting trial. And Na-young? In rehabilitation. Getting better. She wants to meet you. He turned her to face him. We both served monsters. We built pieces of that machine, but we tore it down. Now we're collecting what the world owes to people who can't fight for themselves. Redemption through action, she said softly. The only kind that matters. If you made it all the way here, you're the real one. Hit that like button if this story grabbed you. Subscribe if you believe in justice. And the next story is even more intense. Drop a comment telling us what scene hit hardest or just where you're watching from. These stories about broken people finding redemption only exist because you watch them. Don't let this be the last one you see. We'll see you in the next story. Thank you for watching.